So as we know, a subpoena was served by House Oversight on the estate of Jeffrey Epstein. And I mean, I got to be honest with you, it's not typical to have it be coming in on such a massively long rolling basis, as we've seen now with the Department of Justice's own response to the congressional subpoena that it got for the entirety of the Epstein files. But the estate of Jeffrey Epstein has now turned over some portion of the documents that are responsive to that subpoena that was served on it. And the thing that everybody is focusing on is this birthday letter from Donald Trump that was sent to Jeffrey Epstein to celebrate his 50th birthday back in 2003. And look, it has value, but not for the reason that perhaps you think that it does. I haven't seen the other things that I was interested in seeing, though, from that subpoena to the Epstein estate, like the non-disclosure agreements, the financial records. How about the surveillance, photos, etc., that could speak to the people that participated in those horrific acts of child sex predation and child sex trafficking, other than Ghislaine Maxwell and Jeffrey Epstein? And the Republicans, and including Trump, they're trying to make you take the bait. The big debate now is what? Whether or not that's Donald Trump's signature or not. Do not be fooled by the Republicans and Donald Trump's efforts to try to, snow you or pull the wool over your eyes about whether or not that's his signature. It's his signature. And you don't even need to get into a compare and contrast analysis to know that it's his signature. It's his signature. So let's dispense with some of the bullshit just straight out of the gate so that we can move on to the meat of why this ends up being critically important and not for the reasons that you think so. So number one, we know that this birthday letter now exists. So contrary to what Trump, KKK, Caroline Levitt, and others have been screaming about, claiming that that letter didn't exist. Oh yeah, and that includes couchfucker J.D. Vance. The letter exists. It's been turned over to the House Oversight Committee. So we'll get to the lawsuit, the defamation lawsuit that was brought by Trump against the Wall Street Journal and others in the Southern District of Florida in a second. But here we go, straight out of the gate, the letter exists. So now, what's the excuse that's being offered up by Trump, Vance, and others? Okay, so now the excuse is it's not his signature. Again, we can move on for that. But let's talk about why the reality militates towards why this is a Trump letter to Jeffrey Epstein. One, this was compiled in 2003. What is fake and hoax about any of this? Ghislaine Maxwell asked for these letters to be submitted by family, friends, girlfriends, etc. of Jeffrey Epstein. And if you look at the birthday book, which House Oversight has put up in some small redactions on a Google Drive for you to look at, there is a certain theme that goes throughout this birthday book submissions from Epstein, specifically from his friends. Lewd, body, crude, very sexually explicit. And there's a few things that are included in this that I think are really important. One is the Trump letter to Jeffrey Epstein. It fits thematically with what other people were submitting in support of Epstein's birthday. It also fit what everybody knew about Jeffrey Epstein, that he was lewd, crude, sexually suggestive, sexually explicit. That was his jam. That's how he rolled. And so his friends, of course, were like-minded. And listen, I'm not going to spare the rod for anybody. Bill Clinton's name is included in that list of people, right? As is Alan Dershowitz. As is also this guy, Joel Pashkow, and we'll get to that in a second. But Donald Trump was a friend. He's photographed with Epstein at Mar-a-Lago. He's flown several times to Epstein's island. He's been on Epstein's private jet. This is not a secret. So, of course, this is Donald Trump's letter saying happy birthday to his buddy. And of course, it's done in a way that's also sexually suggestive, with his signature being like pubic hair on this woman's body. But I want to focus on this guy, Joel Pashkow, for a second. If you turn to page 155 of the 238 pages that is provided by House Oversight, I really want to focus on this. Are you ready? Let's go. So page 155, and I apologize in advance because it is kind of a sexually suggestive, explicit drawing. This was done by Joel Pashkow, Pashcow, and I want you to look at it now on your screen while we're walking through it. It's pretty obvious that Epstein in 1983 is giving balloons and candy to little girls, disgusting as it were. And in 2003, half-naked young girls, women, looks like Mar-a-Lago to me, frankly. Epstein is getting, I don't know, Is he getting a hand job, a blow job? I have no idea. He's getting a massage. I have no idea what is happening here, but it's obviously, again, fitting thematically with what Jeffrey Epstein was and what we knew about Jeffrey Epstein, and frankly, what all of his friends knew about what he was. Now, let's move on to the picture that was also submitted by Joel Pashkow, and that's on page 156. Okay, so that is a picture of Joel Pashkow and Jeffrey Epstein, a kind of redacted face of a woman and a man that we see in the back. And it says here, Jeffrey, as in Jeffrey Epstein, showing early talents with money and women, sells fully depreciated, and then the redaction is this woman's name, to Donald Trump for $22,500. Showed early people skills too. Even though I handled the deal, I didn't get any of the money on the girl. Really? So Donald Trump wasn't a part of that circle. He wasn't one of the friends. He would not have submitted a birthday submission or message or a card to Jeffrey Epstein back in 2003. And look, don't also take this bait, because this bait is some of the dumbest shit that Burchett has actually had to say. Burchett, whatever. Take a listen.
I mean, anybody can do a signature. We've seen the auto pen's been used quite a bit with the Biden administration. So I've never known Trump to be much of an artist either, so I kind of draw that into question.
Come on, auto pen. The level of conspiracy theory that has to be going on in the mind of the small little pea brain of this man is insane to me. There was auto pen back in 2003 that was being used to frame Donald Trump. I mean, I want you to think about it. Somebody knew that back in 2003 that they had to frame Donald Trump in 2025, and they had to do it in order to support his lawsuit for defamation against the Wall Street Journal. So in order to do that, they had to use an auto pen to forge Donald Trump's signature on a birthday card message that is equally as sexually explicit and suggestive as other submissions were in this birthday book that Ghislaine Maxwell, the co-conspirator, groomer, participator, abuser, and bestie of Jeffrey Epstein, was compiling in support of and for her best friend. Okay? And Burchett, whatever, he doesn't really know whether or not Donald Trump is known to be much of a drawer. We've now disposed of that as well. We know that the man doodled like other people doodle. His doodles, as in Trump's doodles, his little sketches and drawings have been sold at auctions. Donald Trump has admitted, yeah, you know what? I do. I have doodled, I have sketched. I mean, again, it's not the point. The point is what? The point is that we need the entirety of the Epstein files, because in the absence of them being turned over, how are people able to make the decisions on their own as to people's level of culpability and involvement? The card is fine. The card is whatever. The card is just a red herring for the bigger issue, which is turn over the damn Epstein files. One last thing that I wanted to get into when it came to the House oversight submissions is on page 171. So let's go to that together so we can look at it. Stand by. Here we go. Page 171. I mean, frankly, y'all can go look through this whole thing yourself and you see that it is 100% consistent with something like this Donald Trump thing. January 20th, 2003. Dear Jeffrey, I wanted to get you what you want, so here it is. Happy birthday, your friend Leslie. Now that is Les Wexner, co-founder of Bath and Body Works and The Limited, etc. He is, after that, he kind of subsequently, in like the, 2019 or something, he disavowed and didn't want to have anything to do with Jeffrey Epstein, but whatever. But look at this picture on 171. What is that? It's women's breasts. It's a sketch of women's breasts. Was there an auto pen used for Les Wexner back then? The cajillionaire who was jetting around and hanging around with Jeffrey Epstein? I mean, come on, people. It is so stupid to be caught up in this. It's not the important thing, but where does it have value? It has value when it comes to this. This is the lawsuit that Donald Trump brought against the Wall Street Journal over this birthday letter with Trump's signature on it. And it was brought July 18th, and we've talked about it here at the channel, but I just wanted to bring up a few things to you. One, what is the basis of the lawsuit? The basis is defamation in 2 counts, but here we go. Here we go. In the lawsuit on page 2, Trump alleges that the Wall Street Journal falsely claimed that Trump authored, drew, and signed a card to wish the late and utterly disgraced Jeffrey Epstein a happy 50th birthday. The defendants failed to attach the letter failed to attach the alleged drawing, failed to show proof that President Trump authored or signed any such letter, and failed to explain how this purported letter was obtained. Here we go. Alex Brito, lawyer for Donald Trump. We've all now obtained that letter, haven't we? Haven't we? You wanted to play chicken with the Wall Street Journal? Well, they've called their bluff. The reason for those failures is because no authentic letter or drawing exists. Defendants concocted this story to malign President Trump's character and integrity and deceptively portray him in a false light. You have to laugh. Trump's character and integrity. Let's not get caught up in that, because that doesn't exist. No authentic letter or drawing exists. No drawing or letter exists, or no authentic letter and drawing exists, because I'm going to tell you right now, it's there. And it was turned over to House oversight by the estate of Epstein. The estate of Epstein, as in it was in the birthday book from 2003, from 22 freaking years ago. It was in the custody and control of the executors of the estate of Jeffrey Epstein. Let's fast forward. Again, the allegations is that page 7, paragraph 22. Tellingly, the Wall Street Journal article doesn't explain whether defendants have obtained a copy of the letter, have seen it, have had it described to them, or any other circumstances that would otherwise lend credibility to the article. That's because the supposed letter is a fake, and the defendants knew it when they chose to deliberately defame President Trump. It's not fake. It's not fake. I told you, it's 2 counts of defamation. Here's the laughable part. All of the articles, posts, and false statements concerning this birthday letter have resulted in overwhelming financial and reputational damages to President Trump, expected to be in the billions of dollars due to the direct and implicit defamatory statements paraded throughout the article. What are the damages sought in this lawsuit? No less than $10 billion for the reputational damages and harm to Donald Trump. I mean, look, this birthday letter is the crux of this defamation lawsuit. This defamation lawsuit is proceeding right now. And as we know, there was a little gamesmanship that happened between the plaintiff's lawyers representing the Trump, this Brito guy, and the lawyers for the Wall Street Journal about whether or not Murdoch was going to get deposed and Trump was going to get deposed. I mean, look, discovery is going to happen in this lawsuit. It's going to come out one way or another. And we've seen how badly convicted felon Trump does when he is deposed. I mean, do I need to remind him about how Robbie Kaplan, the lawyer for E. Jean Carroll, skewered his ass on a videotaped deposition under oath when E. Jean Carroll sued him for defamation and for sexual abuse? Donald Trump couldn't even ID his ex-wife, right? He thought that a picture of E. Jean Carroll was a picture of his ex-wife. I mean, putting aside the fact that that guy is dementia and brain-addled, senile, whatever, Trump does horribly in videotaped depositions and in depositions. Well, he doesn't tell the truth no matter what, but listen, this lawsuit and the letter, that's where it has evidentiary value. It doesn't speak to anything that comes to the Epstein files. Let's keep our focus, people. Focus on the Epstein files. The subpoena was important to the estate of Jeffrey Epstein. I've talked about it at length here. I still want the balance of what is due and owing from the Epstein estate. I don't understand why it hasn't been turned over. It was due September 8th. It's September 9th. This rolling production is bullshit. Just like that rolling production from the Department of Justice is bullshit from Pam Bondi when it comes to the entirety of the Epstein files. I understand that this is interesting. I understand that this drawing and the sketch and all this other stuff is interesting. I get it. We cannot lose our focus. We owe it to the victims and the survivors of Epstein, Ghislaine Maxwell, and others to stay focused. We want the entirety of the Epstein files. And that is why we have to continue to speak up and speak out about not having our hands on it. The Department of Justice is being directed by way of a subpoena that is mandatory from Congress to turn the stuff over. It's Donald Trump who's not turning it over. It's not Pamela Jo Bondi. That's the other thing. Don't let that be a distraction either. It's not some judge somewhere. It's not some random lawyer somewhere. It's Donald Trump standing in the way of those Epstein files being turned over. So you can imagine what more could be contained within those Epstein files if this is just the tip of the iceberg of the things that we see having to do with Jeffrey Epstein. Stay mad, stay outraged, demand accountability, because we're going to stay on this always. Katie Phang here. We launched the Katie Phang News Channel in partnership with the Midas Touch Network so we could bring you the latest in legal and political news. straight, no chaser. So if you're a fellow truth teller, hit that subscribe button and share the word about this channel so we can build a high information America together.